Hey guys. I was trying to think of how to start this and what to say. There's a saying in Pirkei Avos from our sages. It's called Ethics of the Fathers. It says, don't say something that may not be readily understood in the hopes or in the belief that it will eventually be understood. If people don't understand you the first time, chances are they're not going to understand you the second or the third or the fourth. No matter if they just don't understand you because they don't understand, or if they're choosing not to understand, deliberately choosing not to. So in light of that, guys, I'm just going to say, the first thing I'm going to say is that I love the soldiers of Israel, the guys who are in the IDF. I love those guys. I also love, as difficult as it is for me to love, citizens of Israel with whom I don't agree with politically. Citizens of Israel, like regular folks. Civilians, laymen's. People who vote for Yesh Atid, people who vote for Gantz, for Lapid, for even people who vote for Lieberman. As difficult as it is for me to love them, I love them. With that said, guys, I think since last week, and especially this week, myself, my friend Frank, and a few other people have taken a lot of flack, for so much as suggesting something logical. What are we suggesting? We're suggesting that, and we're, unlike what people who hate Israel are suggesting, they're suggesting that, the current, what's called formed government in the Knesset, actually committed this attack. We're not suggesting that. What we have been saying is that there are elements in the government, particularly in the military, in the top brass of the military, who, by the way, openly expressed during these protests that we had, these sinat chinam, these baseless hatred protests fomented by the leaders, the leftist leaders, that they're not going to carry out, Netanyahu's orders or orders of anybody else, orders of Ben Gvir. There was even guys I think it was some elements in the police or the military that said, we're not going to, don't listen to Ben Gvir, even though he's officially the person that gives you the orders. Don't listen to him. They said it outright. Right before the Hagim, I remember they said this. So guys, we've been suggesting this. Why? Because we're looking at the situation. It's funny, the very people who are giving us flack for suggesting this, and they're saying that we are lowering the morale of soldiers, that we're the ones that are causing sinat chinam, baseless hatred. We're the ones that are speaking lashon hara, right? That's what they're saying. I've been told it to my face. These are the same, and these are the same people that will say Israel's capability is amazing. Israel, is a startup nation, is a high-tech nation, is all the rest of it. Are the same people that when I asked them straight up, how could it be that the army, during this attack didn't show up for 6 hours? I had one guy tell me, or actually a few people, Well, you know, Iran committed a cyber attack on all those systems that we have. Folks, for 6 hours? They did it for 6 hours. Our wonderful Shmone Matayim, Unit 8200, our incredible cyber warfare units that scrambled all of the, the nuclear supposedly facilities and other facilities in Iran itself. Those things Iran was able to disable for 6 hours? Really? So that, a border that where my friend Eliokim said a caterpillar cannot fart without us knowing is just completely porous for 6 hours. And every single possible thing that didn't work, could have worked, did not work. Every single thing that we have over there. We're talking about drones and planes and helicopters. I had a friend tell me, an Israeli guy, he's like, there was 2 helicopters flying back and forth, getting ammunition. And I'm just like, dude. So guys, basically, what I am to conclude, based on all this, guys, is that there's a situation in Israel where people are living under some sort of spell, under the illusion that we don't have traitors in our midst, and they think that if you call out the traitors, if you call out the problem, you suggest that, even so much as suggest that there's a problem, you're lowering people's morale, troops' morale, and you are, you're creating sinat chinam, you're speaking lashon hara. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, it is precisely that entity inside of our nation, that entity. It's not regular leftist people on the street. It's a specific entity called Erev Rav. All you have to do is look in the Torah, my friends, how to fight this war. Meaning, besides what my friend Eliokim said, obviously, Hashem is looking at us and He wants to see if we're going to do Torah and mitzvahs. That's the first and foremost. But if you want to know how to actually, technically fight this war, if you want to get these guys' morale up, you have to get rid of the elements in the military, in the top brass of the military, that are stifling them, that are sabotaging them, namely the Erev Rav. And if we're saying that Hamas is Amalek, right? Erev Rav are the enablers of Amalek. They're Amalek's best friends. Whether they mean to do it or not do it, but usually they mean to do it. My friends, when you point this out, you are raising the morale. Guys, do you know that the soldiers are standing on the border? Again, I have friends, all kinds of friends telling me, no, Israel is doing this correctly. They're first bombing the empty buildings and they're weeding out these, I like to call it, they're playing Whack-A-Muhammad, You kill one Muhammad, another Muhammad pops up in his place, and then, and then he pops up elsewhere. No, but we're doing this in Lebanon, and then we're doing this here. Guys, the morale of our soldiers, literally the gung-ho morale of our soldiers is being slowly whittled away. Now we have Biden coming tomorrow, and our government has to take marching orders from, basically the modern day Rome, right? And slowly it's being whittled away. Meanwhile, my friends, the Erev Rav in our midst, who allowed this to happen, this horror show, are doing this. And we can't say anything, guys. We can't say anything, because if we say anything, that lowers, I'm speaking lashon hara. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm talking about the Erev Rav, I'm not speaking lashon hara. I'm telling you that you have Erev Rav in your midst. and they're hurting you. They're the ones that are hurting you, not me. They're the ones that made sinas chinam, not me. Baseless hatred. They're the ones that caused these protests before this. Again, I'm not talking about the people that protested on the streets. God bless them, misguided people. These are the same people, guys, now, by the way, that are koshering, some of the same people that are koshering their kitchens, in, their kitchens, their restaurants in Tel Aviv. Baruch Hashem, awesome. Everybody came together, regular citizens. Guys, I'm talking about, it's never the citizens, it's never the regular people, it's the leaders. We're talking about the leaders, the so-called leaders. I mean, they're really ringleaders, they're not leaders, because leaders don't do this kind of stuff. Guys, I mean, somebody asked me to name people. Listen, I can't name the generals. I don't really know who they are. Maybe some people do. I can give you some names off the top of my head in terms of some, personalities in Israel. Ehud Barak, Ehud Olmert, Merav Mikaeli. Guys, this is not, what I'm saying right now is not Lashon Hara or not Sinas Chinam. These are the people that have been inciting. These are the people that have been saying that, with them are the generals who are saying, we're not going to take orders from this government. My friends, I'll tell you something. Again, I spoke to somebody who I'm close with. This is a person who has very close ties in Israel with military higher-ups. He told me most likely this was a situation where we had, where these generals basically were like, well, probably they're going to take, Hamas is going to take a few soldiers, they're going to kidnap a few soldiers, we're going to have like Gilad Shalit times 5 or 10, and then this government is going to be forced to dissolve, this government full of, these religious extremists, Ben Gvir and the rest of them are going to, we're going to dissolve this government and then we're going to take over. They didn't expect for this mini Baba Yar. And guys, for those of you who are saying there's going to be investigations later, now's not the time. It's going to be investigations. Guys, if you believe that there's going to be investigations, again, I have a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. So the conclusion that I've come to, guys, is it just seems like people there's some sort of Stockholm syndrome going around in Israel. People believe that their government has the best interests at heart. People believe that there's not even one traitor in Israel. People believe that anybody with a Jewish last name is for them, is here to protect them, is for the country, loves the country. That's what they believe, guys. They can't wrap their heads around how could this be allowed? How could this horror show be allowed? Guys, I mean, like, all you got to do is read the book Perfidy by Ben Hecht. All you got to do is see what happened to the Yemenite kids. I'm not even talking about the last 3 years with what. I'm not even talking about that. But they're in a trance. People are in a trance. They can't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, if we get these guys out of our midst, our army, Dafka, will be moralized, not demoralized. Morale will go up, and they'll be able to do what they need to do. Instead of listening to, quote, the international community, listening to Obama, basically. It's not Biden, it's Obama. Okay? And this will moralize them. Precisely, will. Because they will be unleashed. Guys, I'm no fan, believe me, I'm no fan of, like, I have friends who have relatives in young kids in the army. I have friends with kids in. I'm no fan of this. But guys, right now, there's my friend Eliakim said there's a lull, right? Hashem is watching, wants to see what we're going to do here, spiritually, right? Because ultimately, if we're fighting a war against Amalek, they want to physically destroy us, We know from the story, we have to do spiritual things to fight, a war of extermination against us, right? That's how we win. But guys, if you remember, after all the spiritual acts that we did, fasting and praying and accepting the oral Torah again. Story of Purim. What did we do? There's a part in the Megillah that talks about how we went in and decimated. At that time, it was 25,000 of these forces of Haman. So there's a military aspect to this. Guys, listen, I'm talking to myself right now also, but looks like some of you guys, some people need to go and learn the laws of Lashon Hara and the laws of, what constitutes Sinas Chinam. Sinas Chinam is what these guys were doing before this disaster, before this Tisha B'Av Kina, Tisha B'Av liturgy in front of our face. That's what they were doing. They were speaking Lashon Hara about the people who got elected. They were speaking Lashon Hara about religious people who are now the front lines in this whole thing. Zakah, people who are picking up bodies, all religious guys. Hatzalah, all religious guys. People making tzitzis for soldiers, all religious guys. And these people in the Israeli media, they shit on them for 40 years. And they shit on them and shit on them and shit on them and shit on them. Pardon my language, guys. And we're the ones doing Sinas Chinam, guys. We're just pointing out that we have an enemy inside of us. Again, it's not the regular people, the leftists on the street, misguided people who are just sitting watching television and ingesting all of this stuff. It's the apparatus, the top, the elite in the military, some in the media, some in the Knesset. My friends, people talk about denazification. We have to do who were those guys? De-Kapo-Fication. Before we do denazification in Gaza, we have to do De-Kapo-Fication in Israel. That's what we have to do. Yes, and we have to point it out, guys. And I have a friend ask me, well, what do you want people to do? Be aware of them. Not tell people not to listen to them. Not vote for them, that's for sure. Guys, I mean, it's so inverted. It's so freaking inverted. I don't even know what to say. And unfortunately, I have friends who are, some Israeli friends, some outside of Israel, living outside of Israel, some living in Israel. They've been so conditioned to believe that the government has their best interests at heart. The government that gave away land for piss, not peace. Piss. And what we have now, guys, and people say, now's not the time. Guys, now Davka is the time to talk about these things, because now the iron is hot. Now is the time where all the attention is on this situation. Now is the time. We're not going to proceed forward unless we get these people out of power. These Erev Rav. By the way, guys, again, this all goes back to Torah. They're the ones that cause us to do the golden calf. The sin in the golden calf. They enable Amalek. They enable our enemies. They enable Hamas, whoever else, Iran, I don't know, Obama. I mean, it's Biden, but it's really Obama, guys. The UN. Guys, I don't know. It's just astounding. And now what's astounding to me is one of the people that I referred to, the people who believe, the government is the end all be all, this so-called religious Zionist guy. We're going to pass a law. Like, anybody who says what I'm saying right now, Has V'Shalom goes to prison. Meanwhile, guys, 80% of the people in Israel are actually asking, how could this happen? How could how could we allow this to happen? They're not asking who, they're asking how. And of course, the Shin Bet guy, just, he's like, I take responsibility. Guys, just know that anytime a person who is not the leader of the country takes responsibility for something this horrific, just know that person was asked to be the fall guy. He was turned into the fall guy. Oh, there's going to be investigations. Guys, we're not going to have any investigations after this. You know what's going to be? There's going to be some kind of like, something like a bone. They're going to throw us a bone. We investigated and we found that this was, the, failure of, there was a cyber attack. As these guys are saying, there's a cyber attack. There's a cyber attack. And you can't say anything. If you're an Israeli citizen, you can't say anything. You're against the you're demoralizing the soldiers. Guys, again, the people that demoralize the soldiers are the people that are not letting the soldiers do their jobs. The people that are making all kinds of excuses why we can't do what we need to do. And now they're turning back on the water back on and humanitarian whatever. Guys, it's unconscionable. It's just unconscionable. But hey, we're the ones saying Lashon Hara and Sina Skinim, right? We're the ones. It's our fault. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're an Israeli citizen watching this, I urge you to wake up to the fact that most likely there are people in your government. Not only do they not have your best interests at heart, they're looking at everything that's going on in society, the way society has coalesced, where most of the people are traditional and religious, and they're saying to themselves, this is not the socialist utopia that we were trying to build, that our parents and grandparents wanted to build. Guys, we built a country that's getting closer and closer, and you could see it during this time. Closer and closer to Torah, closer and closer to Hashem. And those people can't stand that. This small entity, very powerful, but small in number, they can't stand it, guys. And now they're saying to themselves, well, if this is what this is, we don't want any part of it. We're going to dismantle it. We're going to give it away piece by piece to Obama, to the UN, to the EU, to whoever else, to the NGOs, maybe Hamas, whatever. Come one, come all. Guys, wake up to this. Wake up to this. Again, and if you're asking, what can we do, Tzvi? Now's not the time. You could do a lot, guys. These things start with ideas. Changes start with, somebody talking, somebody like me or other people. People get ideas and they act on those ideas, good or bad, right? Why do you think they're shadow banning us? Guys, why do you think they shadow ban my channel? They shadow ban YouTube, my YouTube. They shadow ban my Instagram. They shadow ban my Rumble. Not just me, other people who are saying similar things. Because if this stuff gets out, guys, they're screwed. They're screwed. And our soldiers will actually be able to do the job that they need to do. Not just bomb empty buildings. Do the same thing we always did. Pinky. You know what I'm saying? Listen, guys. Ultimately, my friend Eliakim is right. This all goes back to what we're going to do spiritually, for sure. It all goes back to Hashem. Hashem allows these Erev Rav to exist among us. He allows Amalek, in this case Hamas, and other entities to do what they do. Obviously, as a wake-up call, for sure. That's obvious to us. I mean, it's obvious to me. I don't know about you guys. But listen, there is an element to this where we have to, take matters into our own hands, so to speak. There was the spiritual part of the Megillah, right? In this Purim story. But after that, guys, we did what we need to do. We weeded out, the orcs. We took out the orcs, and in this case, we have to take out anybody who enables them. In this case, it's the Erev Rav. And saying that, pointing that out, for sure is not Lashon Hara, and for sure not fomenting sinas chinam. Talking about the people that are fomenting sinas chinam is not sinas chinam. It's just pointing out that these guys are doing what they're doing. That's it. Anyway, guys, for those of you who understood what I said, great. For those of you who still hold by what you're holding fast to your completely inverted, absurd opinions, can't help you there. Yeah, guys, it's just, to me, it's just a little bit, people need to wake up. People need to wake up. Anyway, guys, Zat Hashem, everything's going to turn around. Our soldiers will be able to do their job. And all the plans of the people that want Israel's demise